folks, once we get to the front fence line, I suggest that everyone looks to the back fence line and follows their line of sight to the right, because typically at this time of the day, our animals like to migrate to that far right-hand side, and that does seem to be the case. Now, if everybody looks toward the back part of the enclosure, or even toward the middle, and looks over to the right-hand side along the rear fence, you'll see the brow antler deer, and in the foreground, you'll see the gaur. The gaur are the largest wild cattle in the world, weighing in at over 2,000 pounds. They stand 6 feet at the shoulder and are 10 feet in length, and you can see some of our gaur coming up to the right-hand side in front of the train. With their impressive size and massive horns, the gaur have the capability to fend off an attack from practically any animal that seeks to harm them, and as a result have very few enemies in the wild. The biggest threat to the gaur is the loss of their Asian habitats, as well as diseases they tend to contract when they come into contact with domesticated cattle species. Now, if you see a gaur that looks smaller and a little bit lighter than the rest of them, you're looking at our 3-month-old baby gaur to the left-hand side. When she gets to full maturity, she's going to look just like her parents with those big brown bodies and the huge horns. If the horns are curved in at the tip, they are female gaur, and if they point straight back, they're male gaur. Now, if we look behind the herd of gaur, we'll see our brow antler deer along that backhand fence line. Now, the brow antler deer get their name from the look of the male deer's antlers that form a curvature over the forehead and resemble something of a large, bushy eyebrow. But you folks are going to have to take my word for it on that one, because it is a ladies' afternoon out, so we're not going to see any of those antlers in question. Now, those deer are classified as vulnerable in their native Cambodia because they consistently lose their wild space to farming and are forced to subsist on agricultural crops, which are not a natural staple in their diets. Now, folks, it's very easy to forget that the Bronx Zoo sits in the heart of an urban environment, but we are being reminded of that fact right about now. The noise you folks are going to begin to hear behind you is not an animal, unless you count New York City drivers. It's traffic on our Bronx River Parkway. The large wooden fence line you're seeing directly ahead of you was specifically built to help mitigate the noise from that outside traffic and to allow our next animals to feel a bit more at home and comfortable in their respected areas. Now, folks have been doing an absolutely marvelous job of this so far, and I thank you very much for adhering to our rules and guidelines. But I will take this opportunity once again to remind everyone to please remain seated with arms and legs inside the train, because in a matter of moments we'll be on the lookout for a tiger. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're looking for Anakin, and I have spotted him, so as soon as you pass by that wooden fence line, look over to your right-hand side, just north of the pond, and you'll see Anakin, our 7-year-old, 450-pound male Siberian tiger. Now, my lovely guests at the back of the train, I've not forgotten you guys, I promise. As soon as you clear the wooden fence line and enter the exhibit, if you look over to your left-hand side toward the back of the enclosure, you're going to see Anakin walking along that backhand fence line and turning and going down to the left. Now, a tiger such as Anakin hunts a variety of different animals out in the wild, but they usually prefer medium-sized deer and wild hogs. They'll gorge themselves on a fresh kill, eating up to 40 pounds of meat at one time. Now, to put that into a human perspective for those of us on the train, that would be like you or I eating about 160 hamburgers in one sitting. Now, after a meal of that size, a tiger normally won't eat again for a number of days. Now, as we watch Anakin walk through the enclosure down to the left-hand side, you might be wondering why he's on display by himself here. That's a perfectly legitimate question, folks. Adult tigers are naturally solitary and secretive animals, and males of the species in particular, such as Anakin, tend to be very, very territorial.